Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. If this is your first time here, welcome. Today I want to talk to you about shooting your pistol, pow, one-handed. The intricacies of it and the difference in shooting it two-handed. So let's get into it. So before we go any further, if you like this sort of video, please hit the like, share, and subscribe button. Sharing is the best way to get the message out there. It gets these kind of videos in front of more people, and it tells Al Gore's rhythm and YouTube that this kind of content, Second Amendment content, gun content, is enjoyed by the masses and will help get it out in front of more people. There are other ways to support the channel, but that is the most free and easy way to do so. You can monetarily support the channel if you think I've earned it by going to my website to the shop tab and shopping from the affiliate links there. Costs you nothing extra, but it certainly helps me out a bunch. You can also become a member of the channel. It's very inexpensive. You get video previews, other members only posts, unboxings, things like that. So thank you to all my supporters out there. Let's get into shooting pistols one-handed. I want to start by clarifying something. I'm going to put a video card here from my video of trigger control and finger placement. I had a friend of mine say to me the other day, he made the comment talking about my video saying something to the effect of trigger pull and trigger finger placement not mattering. And I want to clarify something. Now, whether or not that's the way he meant to say it or not, I don't know. I hadn't had a chance to talk to him about that, but if that's the way he took it, then other people may have taken it that way as well. I want to clarify that in a two-handed shooting grip, that, I want to be very specific with this. Trigger control and finger placement does matter. However, if you have exceedingly good grip, deficiencies in your trigger control and finger placement can be masked. Meaning the movement that your finger, improper trigger control, improper pull, improper finger placement for the size of your hand to the size of your finger to the size of your gun, having an exceedingly good grip can in fact mask those deficiencies. That's not to say that those deficiencies don't matter just because you have a good grip, but they can be masked by an exceedingly good grip. So let's not mistake, I don't want my words to be mistaken from that last video. Again, I will place a card here and I will link that video down below. So in one-handed pistol shooting, you have, well, 50%, you're using 50% less of almost everything. You're using 50% less arm, 50% less wrist, 50% less hand, 50% less structure, and so on. And this is where your finger placement and trigger pull, the deficiencies in those very much will present themselves almost no matter how good your grip is. Now what I mean by that is in a two-handed shooting grip, your center line of your pistol is center line of you, should be center line of you. You're squared up to the target. Your gun, or your structure, I should say, your arm structure comes in at an angle from each side equally, and your pistol is in the center. This allows both of the sides of your body, both arms, both wrists, both hands, and so on, to equally manage that recoil and to equally apply grip pressure. You do not have that in one-handed shooting. Also, in one-handed shooting, I've not changed my grip of my right hand. Notice that I am still coming in at an angle pointing straight forward. We want to get rid of that. So as you're drawing for a one-handed shot and you come out one-handed, notice now my pistol the center line of my pistol is more in line with the skeletal structure of my body. That allows for a straight back while the gun will still flip, instead of having it crooked like this, where a two-handed shot would be. Now you have moved it to here for a one-handed shot, aligning everything up with the bore. Of course, you're still going to have the same high grip on the beaver tail or back of the pistol. You're still going to wrap your hand, the rest of your hand, the same way as you would with any other grip. Now, to the presentation of this, some people try really hard to keep that pistol straight up and down, straight up and down. This may not be the most advantageous way for you to shoot that pistol. And what I mean by that is that I find, whenever I'm teaching somebody, and even myself, that when it comes to one-handed pistol shooting, everybody sort of has a natural angle to their hands. Most people, I'm not saying all people, and if you're one of the people that has a straight up and down hand, like if you raise your hand up sort of limp and it's straight up and down, then that's going to be the most natural way that you can hold that pistol. However, if your hand has a little bit of an angle, mine tend to, see that? That's sort of rested. Mine have a little bit of an angle, so I am going to draw like that, and that is how I will be shooting one-handed at a slight angle. So find that angle for you. Now, this is where your trigger finger placement and trigger control come into play. When you are shooting two-handed, this hand is doing more recoil management than this hand, believe it or not. You are coming out, you are squeezing inward like you're trying to squeeze a tennis ball, squeezing your hands inward, kind of bringing your elbows in a little bit. Some people, as I mentioned before, may ratchet their elbow up quite a bit to help with that squeeze. That hurts me, so I don't do that. But any way you put it, what you have here is you have an excellent structure, excellent grip to hide any deficiencies in your trigger finger placement or trigger control. But when it comes to one-handed shooting, you no longer have that. With one hand, if you pull the trigger wrong way, one way or the other, you no longer have anything here to mitigate that deficiency. Now, as I said before in the trigger finger placement video, there is no universally correct place to put your finger. Don't let anybody tell you there is, but there is a good starting point, because again, where your finger lands on the trigger is going to wholly depend on the size of the pistol to the size of your hand to the length of your finger. So I will grip, say, a 19X differently, and my finger lands a little differently on the 19X than it does, say, the G43, because it is such a smaller gun, and my hand size, well, it hasn't changed. But there is a good starting point, and that is, as I mentioned in the previous video, the center of your index finger pad. So splitting that trigger with the center, or splitting that pad with the trigger there. So starting there, and if you still find yourself deviating left or right, you may need to sink your finger a little bit more or a little bit less to compensate for that. And again, the trigger pull is straight back, not sideways, not this way. You don't want to use this as a lever and come this way, and you don't want to curl this in. That will deviate the pistol left and right again. So let's see what this looks like in real life. I'm here at like 7 yards with my Infinity target from Infinite Defense. I'll leave a link to those guys down below as well. Been really enjoying using their targets. And let's heat this up. I have it all spray painted. I'm gonna do a right-handed shot, one-handed. Again, I have my structure more in line with the pistol's center line versus when I have a two-handed shot. So I have the structure lined up. I, again, am sort of canted a little bit. I know where my finger needs to be. Let's do that again a little bit faster, see if I can keep that up. And I would call that perfectly acceptable. Can I do better two-handed? Yes, I can. Can I do worse one-handed? Absolutely, and it is much easier to do it worse one-handed. So the same goes for your offhand. Of course, you're probably not drawing with your offhand, so you're going to draw your pistol, you're going to keep it pointed down range, and then practice that left hand as you transfer it over. So again, you're working with half the structure, half the arm, half the wrist, half the hand, half the grip. You're working with half of everything. The only thing you have extra on this arm that you wouldn't normally have on this arm is this, and that is why this makes such a big difference when shooting one-handed. You no longer have this isosceles triangle to work with, evenly mitigating all the action with both hands, so you are going to line your structure up more with the center line of the gun. Again, you choose to do what you want. I find that with the people that I've trained and myself, that if you go to a more natural point of what your hand likes to do, that you tend to do better. All right, everybody, thanks for watching. Don't forget to hit like, share, and subscribe. You can practice this at home dry firing just by putting your sights on a small target at home and slowly pulling that trigger. Slowly pulling that trigger. Reset the gun, slowly pull that trigger, and then start pulling that trigger a little bit faster, right? And try to do that again without the gun cycling. There's no recoil, there's none of that stuff, but at least you can work on not deviating your sights, doing it one-handed. All right, everybody, don't forget to hit like, share, subscribe. Again, check out Infinite Defense there. Infinity targets, this is the Gen 2 that I have behind me. I have a few Gen 1s as well. There'll be a video on all that stuff coming up in the near future. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you to all the supporters out there. Hit that subscribe button. Now, go ahead. I'll give you time. Did you do it yet? All right. Awesome. Thank you for doing that. I am trying to hit 50,000 subscribers this year. Getting there slowly, but I am getting there. Thank you guys for all your support, and we'll talk to you later.